Welcome to a demonstration of the Motive integration with Prophesy Dispatch. Let's start out by taking a look at a load. Here you can see load number 10508. We can see this load is supposed to be picked up at Albany Distribution on the 8th at noon. It's being delivered to Dean Manufacturing on the 10th at 9 o'clock in the morning. We can see their staging, 39,000 pounds, 2,500 pieces, 20 skids. We can also see that there's a message in here for the driver to see Matt at Albany before loading. This is a load that we will send to our driver via the Motive integration. Before we do that, however, let's take a look at the load scheduler to see how hours of service from Motive is fully integrated with the Prophesy dispatch system. Here on the load scheduler, I'm going to select this load going from Tucker, Georgia to Los Angeles, California. You'll notice in the H column, there's a yellow X, a green circle, and a blue question mark. What we do with Motive is we bring in the current day plus the previous 8 days hours of service into Prophesy Dispatch. We then calculate whether or not a driver has enough hours to get from where they are to where they're potentially going, to the pickup point on a load you're looking to schedule them on, then to the delivery point, and see if they have enough hours to do that load legally. If they do have enough hours, we will show a green circle. And if you put your cursor over that green circle, we'll give you some summary information of the time required to do that load, along with their current hours of service totals. If you'd like to see some additional information, you can simply right-click, go to driver's hours of service totals, and you can see when this data was last updated. We can see the current status of the driver and when that was last updated. We can see their current driving time, on duty, total on duty left, and hours until mandatory break in their current duty cycle. We can also see when they had their last 34-hour reset. You can also see by day, including the current day and the previous 8 days, total miles driven, driving time, on duty time, sleeper berth, off duty, and total time for the day. If we calculate that a driver does not have enough available hours, you can configure the system either to warn or prevent you from assigning that driver. Most customers will set it up to warn, and that's when you would see a yellow X right here. The system now is telling me that this driver, Flynn, is not eligible for this load because he does not have the available total on duty time remaining to take the load. Once again, you're seeing a summary of the time required to do the load and the driver's current hours in their duty cycle. Of course, you could right-click and drill into those hours of service totals to look at that information, and then the dispatcher can make a decision of whether or not they feel the driver does or does not have enough available hours to do the load. If you see a question mark, as we see here, that means that there's something wrong with your ELD and we are not getting the required information from it. So let's now take a look at using the integration to send load information to the driver via workflow with Motive. I'm going to right-click on load 10508 and come down to Assign Resources. I'm going to assign driver Andrews to the load, and I'm going to take trailer 5301 and assign that to the load as well. So we now have a driver, tractor, and trailer assigned to the load. That load will then be put into the MobileCom queue, where it will automatically be released and sent out to the driver. We can now see that it says a planned dispatch. That means that that load has been sent from dispatch out to the Motive driver app. Let's now take a look at what your driver will experience when using the Motive app. This is the Motive app. And I can see as a driver, this red X up here, which is telling me that something new has arrived in the app for me. I'm going to touch the hamburger and open it up. I can see under dispatches that there's a new dispatch or a dispatch has been updated. I'll go ahead and click on that. And I can see as a driver that I've been assigned load 10508. I can see there's 2 stops, which consist of a pickup in Latham, New York, the day, the date, and the time when it's supposed to be picked up. I can see where it's going to, Chicago, Illinois, and when it's supposed to be delivered. I can then come in and review the information on the load. So I'll just tap the arrow, and I can see the pickup information. I'm picking up at Albany Distribution in Latham, New York. I can see that there's 4 tasks or 4 items that I need to complete once I get there. I can see where I'm delivering to in Dean Manufacturing in Chicago. If I continue scrolling down, I can see the trailer number I'm supposed to pull, the loaded numbers, the load number. I can see my special instructions to see Matt at Albany before loading. I can see when I'm supposed to deliver, and I can see when I'm supposed to pick up. Once again, what you're seeing here is our standard integration. We can make slight modifications for you. So what the driver would do next is they have to accept the dispatch and then start the dispatch. You'll also notice that the arrived shipper is active now. However, the downstream tasks are not highlighted, so the driver cannot update those until they arrive at the shipper. With Motive, there's 2 ways that the arrive at shipper can be captured. We leverage the geofencing that is part of the Motive platform, so you can do an automatic arrival and departure. However, your driver could also go into the app. They could select the arrival date and time and populate it manually. If they were dropping a trailer at that location, they could also enter a trailer number to drop. Or if they were picking up a trailer at that location, because you had not pre-assigned a trailer to them, they could enter the trailer number into the app. As long as that's a valid trailer number in dispatch, that trailer will automatically be assigned to the load. I'm going to go ahead and submit that as the driver, I have arrived to make the pickup. I can now see my next task is to update the shipment information. I'm going to click on that. There's nothing in here right now that I want to update, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip that. Goods updates. Once again, I can click on the goods updates. So as the driver, I can then go in and I can update what I actually picked up versus what I thought I was going to pick up. So under pieces, let's say I picked up 3,000 pieces. Pallets, let's say there were 24, and the total weight was 41,000 pounds. And I'll say I'm done, and we'll submit that. Once again, I have one more task to do, which is to depart the shipper. Using the geofencing, we will automatically capture when that driver departs. However, if you want your driver to do it manually, they can click right there. They can enter when they've departed. They could also enter a seal number if you are using seals on your trailers and submit that. As a driver now, I've completed all of the tasks that I need to complete, and I've departed Albany and I am on my way to Chicago. The information from the Motive Driver app will automatically be uploaded into the Prophesy DIspatch software. You'll notice when I refresh the screen that load 10508 is no longer an assigned load. If we come down to on route loads, we can see load 10508 has changed status. That's because the data from Motive updated the load in dispatch. If we click on the load and open it up, I can now see that the weight has been updated, the pieces are updated, the pallets are updated, and obviously you've already realized that the load status was automatically updated as well. As that driver now runs down the road, the last check-in date will be updated automatically every 10 or 15 minutes. That's a user-definable time frame, as will the city and state where the driver is located. When these items are updated, we'll also recalculate the ETA on the load. If we calculate the driver is running behind schedule and you have your ETA alerts turned on, the load would automatically turn red, alerting your operations people that there's a potential customer service issue. They could then reach out to the driver, see if indeed they are running late, and then they could be proactive with reaching out to your customers and modifying that or changing that delivery time or that delivery appointment. Let's now go back to the Motive app and let's arrive at our destination at Dean Manufacturing. So once again, we would leverage the geofencing on the Motive platform. So the arrival and departure time could be captured automatically. I'm going to go ahead and fill it in and submit it. Shipment updates, I'm going to come in, I'm going to enter the bill of lading number, and I'm also going to capture a document here. Now, there's multiple documents that I could capture. What I'm going to capture, however, is the bill of lading. So we'll check bill of lading. We'll come down here to add photo. and we'll capture that image. Click OK, and we'll go ahead and submit that. The next thing I have to do as a driver is go in and do a goods update. There's nothing for me to update there, so I'll just go ahead and submit that. And now I'm going to depart the consignee. Once again, we would leverage the geofencing to do that automatically. However, I'm just going to go ahead and enter the date and submit it. You can see that the app is telling the driver that that load is complete. Got it? And that data will now process, come in, update the Prophesy dispatch, and automatically complete the load. You can see when we refresh the screen that load 10508 is now off of the on-route load screen. And if we go to our completed loads, we can see load 10508 has automatically been completed. If we go into our billing screen now, and we look at load 10508, we can see under rendition that it says okay. That's because this customer requires a BOL, and that BOL came in automatically from Motive. Let's take a look at it. I'll just double click on OK. You can see here's load 10508, and here's that bill of lading right here that came automatically into the system and associated itself with that invoice. So you can go ahead and invoice your customers as soon as the driver makes that delivery. Another integration point with Motive is sending a direct message to your driver. If you come into the mobile message center, you can select your driver, you can click New, you can enter a message that will be sent to the driver. It will notify them right in the Motive app that they've received the message. They can read that message and they can reply to that message, and that message will come directly back into the dispatch system. When it comes back into dispatch, you'll see the message up here will start flashing red, alerting operations that there is a new message received from the driver. Operations can then read it and reply back to the driver if they'd like to. The last integration point we have with Motive is an optional integration, and that's for trailer tracking. If you come into Equipment, Trailers, you'll notice there's a column here for days at location, but there's also a mobile check-in. If you have trailer tracking or asset tracking, as Motive calls it, on your trailers, we will automatically receive GPS pings from those trailers as often as you're pinging them with Motive. We will update that trailer location based on those pings, and we will keep track of how long your trailers have been at a specific location. Thank you very much. This concludes the demonstration of the Motive integration with Prophesy Dispatch.